Hello, everyone. My name is Casey Held, and this is Taylor Ellingson, and we'll be talking to you guys about Meal Prepping 101. So, who are we? We are Viterbo Dietetic Interns. So, have any of you meal prepped before? Do you have any ideas on how to meal prep? And if not, then we are here to explain to you guys on how to meal prep as well as some tips on shopping. So we plan on talking about today. So we'll be talking about the positives and benefits of meal prepping. We'll also be talking about different phone apps that you can use. We'll be talking about different containers and tips and tricks on meal planning. We'll also be talking about a balanced meal and then also storage tips. So first we'll talk about health and finance. So there are some benefits of meal prepping. So it does save you time. The reason it saves you time is so that then you don't have to keep going back to the grocery store and getting all the ingredients that you need. And then you'll be also to complete it in the one day, and then you'll have it for the rest of the week. It can be a healthier option. So the reason is you have less sodium, less fat, and less carbohydrates in the foods that you create versus going to a fast food restaurant. You can use it as a portion control tool. So with that, you can, the food is divided up into equal amounts of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. You can also use it to find correct portion sizes of food so you can avoid excessive calories. So it saves your energy. So I know we're always fatigued after a long day, so we're not really able to create the meals for ourselves and also for others. So with the meal prepping, it does save your energy. You can also make a large batch of it at one time, and this is the big time saver with this one. So by the end of the week, or then you have like everything all set and ready to go. So what's the impact on your health? So I'll be talking about for home meals versus restaurant fast food meals. So we'll first talk about the home meals. So maybe reduce sodium, fat, and or sugar with this one. And then you can also incorporate, you have to incorporate other ingredients when you, instead of like going, like buying like pre-made kind of foods at the grocery store. It's nutrient dense, so it does have like your proteins and your fats. It is a great tool for portion control, kind of like what I said a little bit for the meal prepping for the benefits. And then with that, also know all of your ingredients are in your recipes. That is also good. So with the restaurant fast food meals, they may have higher amounts of sodium, fat, and sugar. And they also have larger portion sizes that does lead to the unnecessary calories. And then it can also lead to different health concerns.
Yeah, with like the larger portion sizes, I know that when I've gone to like, what is it called? Olive Garden.
Oh, yeah.
They give you like such big portion sizes. And I know what I've done is just take a certain portion of the pasta and put it in a box already just to like take it home and add it into different meals versus just eating it all in one sitting.
Yeah.
So like if you were to go to a restaurant, that's definitely something that you could do.
Yeah, I think that's also a good idea if you guys do go out a lot, either like have half of it for your meal and then save the other half for later during the week. Yep, good idea. Okay, so the impact on your finances. So I'll be talking about home meals. So it is less expensive because you're only buying the ingredients that you only need. And then, so you're only purchasing the ingredients that you just need. And then you're also utilizing the ingredients that you also already have in your pantry, which is good so that you don't have to keep going out into the grocery stores and getting more foods that you don't really need. For restaurant fast food meals, so yes, it is more expensive overall. What Taylor was saying about the Olive Garden is a little bit more expensive. Also, the food is low in price. Usually it's not very good quality. And then, okay, so this chart shows the nutrient profile of common fast food lunches. So I chose to show you guys the McDonald's, the Taco Bell, the Burger King, and the Wendy's. They all pretty much have a couple of the items that are in common. So your chicken sandwich, you also have your burger. So for example, if you are going to go to McDonald's one day and you're like, and you want to go and you want to have a crispy chicken sandwich. So you know that it has 620 calories, it has 29 grams of fat, has 49 grams of carbohydrates and 1,030 milligrams of sodium.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy to see like all the sodium that some of these items may have. I know that some of these places do provide different salads, and you can definitely get those. We're not just saying you cannot eat fast food all the time. It's just really in moderation.
Right.
And so there are different salad options or different kinds of items in these restaurants where you can get them, but they are a bit lower in calories, a bit of the healthier options.
Yeah, so example, Wendy's, they do have the different salads that Taylor was just talking about. So that will be another option with that. And then, so there's a couple of tips for shopping. So also just look to see if there are any deals. So as example, we go to Festival Foods in La Crosse to get our groceries, and they usually have a weekly ad newspaper out in the front, so you can grab it and you can look and see whatever deals or offers that they have during that day. So where to shop in the stores. So first you start at the fresh produce, if your budget allows it. And then next you go to the dry goods section, whether it's can or the box options. And then lastly, you go to the refrigerated and frozen sections. So a couple of different examples. So again, the Festival Foods, Walmart, Aldi, Woodman's. These are a couple of different examples of grocery stores that are in the La Crosse area that we know. So there are some apps that are available. So the first one, it's called Ibotta, which I've never heard of. I don't know if you have heard of it.
I have kind of.
So this app is actually it sends you your receipt to your mobile device and also helps you find offers or deals. You can also get your cash back based on if the receipt items are matched to the deals that you find. And then you can also link your card. So whether if it's your credit card or if it's a grocery store card, whatever card that you want to use, you can link it to this app. Also, there are in-app purchases such as Groupon, so you can also get more offers and deals as well. The next app is called Checkout 51. So this app, you can browse through it. You can buy different items. Select your own offers or deals, which is good. And then you can also upload your receipt for you, so you don't have to do that. You also can get your cash back if you need to. Okay, the next app is called Yumly. So this app, you can add your likes, your dislikes. You can also add if you have any allergies to any of the foods or different items. If you also are on like a different diet, and then there's different cuisines that you can choose, and also your skill level. And then you can search for different recipes based on your prep time or what's even popular, and also that you can try. So you can also narrow it down to how much calories and how much carbohydrates, fat, and cholesterol levels for each of your meals that you want to consume. And then, so the next app is called Supercook. So this app selects the ingredients that you already have in your pantry. So that's good. So then you don't have to make like your grocery list on like the items that you need and want to create for your meals. This app also suggests recipes based on the ingredients that you have. So it gives you the different ideas if you can't come up with anything. So it helps you with that. You can also narrow it down to what kind of meal that you want to create. So that's also kind of good that it does that for you.
Yeah, and it's a big budget saver. So it already like she said, it already selects the ingredients that are in your pantry. So you're not having to go and buy out excessive amounts. You can use the ingredients that you already have on hand.
Okay, so this last app is called Pepper Plate. So this app, it will customize your personal meal plans and menus based on the recipes that you like. And then also it gives you prices of food in terms of how much each of the ingredients that you need, which is good. There's also shopping lists on the app, so you don't have to create your own from a different app. You can also use this one. So now I'm going to send this over to Taylor.
And I'm going to be talking about containers. So there are different types of containers that you can use for meal prepping. The two that we're going to talk about is glass and plastic. And then we're going to go over the pros and cons of each. So with glass, some of the pros include that it's microwave safe. It does have a longer durability because it is going to be less likely to crack or melt. It may carry less odors, and it's going to keep food fresh for a longer period of time. Some of the cons include that it may be a bit heavier and it's more expensive. But looking at how the durability it is, or how durable it is, usually that's going to outweigh how much it costs because you're going to have it for a longer period of time.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And then for plastic, some of the pros include that it can be microwave safe, but it's not always going to be. Something that you can look on the container is that it is BPA free. So BPA is a chemical used to make plastic, and if exposed according to the Mayo Clinic, there may be health effects on the brain and prostate gland of fetuses, infants, and children. If you were unsure that it didn't contain BPA, there are numbers on the bottom of the container, and the safer container choices include numbers 1, 2, 4, and 5. And the ones that may contain chemicals is numbers 3, 6, and 7. So you can definitely check that on the bottom of the container if you're unsure. Another pro is that it is going to be lightweight, it's portable, and it may be cheaper. The cons, again, it may contain BPA, and it's going to have a shorter durability versus the glass containers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. All right, and now onto size of containers. You want to be mindful of how much food you're making because that's definitely going to depend on how many containers you need as well as the sizes. So what I recommend is getting one large container to store maybe the excess amounts of ingredients or recipes that you may have on hand, and then around 5 to 6 smaller containers, just so you can store these in the fridge, use them as your meal prep containers, and bringing them onto your school hours or at work.
That's a good idea. I should probably do that.
Yeah, I know. It's super easy. And then it's also a great use for portioning control. With the layouts of containers, there are single compartment containers. Typically, these are going to be more easy to clean just because it's just one swipe usually, and it does help with portion control with the overall recipe. The next one is a bento box. We're just going to go into a little bit of detail with it. There is another group that's presenting on healthy lunches, and they may be going more in depth about these bento boxes. But what it is that it has multiple compartments, and it's great to use for separating different ingredients. So say you wanted your fruits and vegetables separated, you can put those into the different compartments. Otherwise, if you have a vegetable and you have like a dip on the side and you don't want it touching, it's definitely a great tool. It's also great for portioning control. You can put certain ingredients into different compartments and measuring it out that way. But it may take up some room, so sizing up on a container is recommended based on how much you want to bring to your lunches or breakfast.
So that's kind of good, like if you are someone who has a picky eater and doesn't like everything to be touched, then you can put like your carbs on one side, then you can put like your meats or your protein on the other side. So it's kind of good to separate it.
Yeah, for sure. Some other layouts of containers is different kinds of shapes. So there can be circle, square, or rectangle. I recommend getting the circle kind because it's way easier to clean versus the square, because it does have those tiny corners where food might get stuck. So it's a bit harder to clean. And then with mason jars, I put a picture on the left. It is a taco salad recipe. So mason jars are great for salads or different kinds of dressings that you may make at home. If you're on the go and you want to create a smoothie, this is a simple way of storing it because it does have a tight lid where it won't leak. And then it's great for overnight oats if you were ever to make that in the morning. With lids of containers, we'll talk about 2 different kinds. The first one is a snap lock lid, and this is going to be leak-proof, secured, and have a longer durability. So with the leak-proof, typically on the bottom of the container, it'll have like a plastic or a rubber surrounding on it, and that just keeps the liquids from spilling out. Yeah, so it's a great tool. If you were like walking around with your lunchbox and you had some like salad dressing in there, it's probably not going to leak.
That's good.
Yeah. And then with the plastic lids, typically they may wear down a bit quicker because they might melt, they might crack, whatever it may be. And it's typically not that good for travel in terms of, leak proof.
Mm-hmm.
So now finally onto the meal prepping basics.
Mm-hmm.
So when to meal prep? Typically, I like to meal prep on the days I'm least busy. So that would be Sundays.
Yeah.
What I do is that I go to my pantry, see what ingredients I have on hand, and then find recipes that kind of match those ingredients. Make a list of stuff I still need to buy from the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the grocery store and then create the recipes the same day. I do that on a personal standpoint. If that's too much work or you don't have enough time, you can definitely break it up and maybe go shopping the day before or a few days before, and then make the recipes on your least busiest day. Next, what I do is I select a day or a certain meal that is more complicated for me. So when I was an undergrad student, breakfast was very hard for me to make because I had early classes and I had to go somewhere all the time. So what I did is I meal prepped just for my breakfast hours. And then as I got better at it, I worked my way up to doing breakfast and lunch or certain meals of the day. If you wanted to do that, you definitely could. Otherwise, you could double or triple the batch of the recipe and then freeze that for later usage, like in the weeks or months. So now what to include into your recipes. First, we're going to talk about protein. So the daily recommendation is about 4 to 5 ounces. Health benefits include that protein is a building block for enzymes. It has hormones and vitamins. Some include iron, B vitamins, and magnesium. Examples of protein include chicken, turkey, eggs, beans, etc. If you wanted more of a lean alternative in terms of like chicken or turkey, you can do these proteins with no skin. Usually the white meat is going to be a bit leaner, so like the chicken breast, and having it baked versus like deep fried. So some of the serving sizes of protein for chicken, 4 ounces cooked is about the size of a deck of cards. Eggs is going to be around 2 large eggs, and then beans is half a cup or the size of your fist. For carbohydrates, the daily recommendation is about 6 to 8 ounces. Health benefits include dietary fiber, which is great for your gut health and keeping you full for a longer period of time. It is a main source of energy. So this is going to provide energy for your brain as well as your muscles to provide that everyday living. It also contains B vitamins and different minerals. So some examples include grains, fruits, vegetables, and dairy. Yeah, so it's kind of like a overall thing. It's not just like your whole grains. It's different, obviously, like fruits and vegetables. So some of the serving sizes for carbohydrates. For rice and pasta, it's about half a cup of cooked, and it's around the size of a light bulb or a tennis ball.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's good like eye reference if you are unsure. For a tortilla, it is about 6 inches in diameter. For a potato, it's about the size of a computer mouse. And for whole wheat bread, it's about the size of a CD, which is 4 inches in diameter.
That's what I had today.
Oh, yeah. All right, and then on to fats. So the daily allowance is about 6 to 7 teaspoons. And which ones to choose? Fats are kind of hard to figure out which ones are healthy versus not. So what we look for is food sources that contain mostly omega-3 and omega-6s. And according to research, these are going to have anti-inflammatory properties. Omega-3 and omega-6s also fit into this unsaturated fats category. And typically these are going to be liquid at room temp. So that can include like your extra virgin olive oil, for example. And these fats, according to research, will typically not raise your LDL or the bad cholesterol, what we talk about in the health field. So some examples are like avocado, fish, extra virgin olive oil, nuts, and seeds. So the serving size of fats, for nuts, it's about a 1/4 cup or the size of your palm. It's half of an avocado and 1 tablespoon of oil.
I didn't know about the nuts. That's kind of interesting to
Yeah.
see.
I know. Usually people, I feel like they either eat way more or way less. So this is just a great representation of like a visual component.
Mm-hmm.
Now on to vegetables. The daily recommendation is about 2.5 to 3 cups. Some of the health benefits include dietary fiber again. It may have folic acid, vitamin A and C, and it may be a bit lower in calories versus other food options. Some examples include spinach, peppers, broccoli, or carrots. One recommendation, if you were to buy canned items, making sure that you're looking at the nutrition label to see if it is higher in sodium or if it has any alternatives that are added into the canned option. So a serving size for vegetables with spinach, it's about 3.5 cups raw, so about 2 handfuls. A bell pepper is the size of your hand typically, and for broccoli, it's 1 cup and about the size of a baseball. With fruits, the daily recommendation is about 1.5 to 2 cups. Health benefits include dietary fiber, folic acid, potassium, and vitamin C. And again, like vegetables, it is lower in calories. Examples include apples, oranges, strawberries, cantaloupe, etc. And just like with the canned vegetables, you want to look at the nutrition label with fruits because it may contain high fructose corn syrup, which is something we want to avoid within our diet. If you were to get canned fruit, looking for options that already have their natural juices is a better alternative. So serving sizes of fruit with berries is about a handful, and with an apple, it's about the size of your fist.
I have apples every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I love berries, and my little sisters could eat a whole container of those. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, we love them.
That's good.
All right, so then with some examples of meal prepping recipes that I have done previously, the first one was turkey meatballs. So it contains turkey, carrots, rice, and green onion. You can also see that there's like teriyaki on it and sesame seeds. And then for the next one, it's a chicken fajita bowl. So this has chicken, rice, bell peppers, cheese, avocado, and cilantro. These are good recipes to use within your meal prepping because it does contain 3 or more of the food groups, which is kind of what we strive for. Mm-hmm. The last few things that we're going to talk about is how to store cooked items in the fridge and freezer. So the first one we're going to talk about is the fridge. There is a danger zone of 40 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is typically where bacteria is going to rapidly grow. So 2 hours after cooking the meal, or it's been off heat, it should be refrigerated just to reduce bacteria. And you want to cool the foods rapidly. So what you can do is place it in a shallow container, which is 2 inches deep, and placing it on a cooling rack to allow air to circulate and speed up the cooling time. Mm-hmm. When placing in the fridge, you might want to lightly cover it just to reduce the chances of something going into the recipe or bacteria. You can keep it in the fridge for about 3 to 4 days. And if you were to reheat the leftovers, it should reach about 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Mm-hmm. So with soups, you want to bring it to a rapid boil. And if you were to microwave it, making sure that you have a microwave-safe bowl and rotating and stirring it to ensure even cooking. And then with the freezer, you want to cool food slightly at room temp before setting in the fridge. And this goes with storing the fridge overall, because if you were to put a hot item into the fridge, it will increase the internal temp, putting it in that danger zone. Mm-hmm. So again, placing in a shallow container, complete the cooling in the fridge and lightly covering it. And once it is ready to be frozen, you want to place the foods in a freezer bag versus just the regular plastic bags. And that's because the freezer bags are more durable and it's going to keep the foods fresh for a longer period of time. You can store foods in the freezer for about 3 to 4 months. And if you were to thaw it, there's 3 different ways that you can do that. And that's by putting in the fridge. So placing items in a bowl or plate to catch any kinds of drippings. Depending on the size of the recipe or the food item, it may take about 24 or more hours to thaw. So just keeping that in mind. For thawing it in water, you want to place the items in a bowl and have cold running water going over it until it's thawed. And with microwaving it, we recommend cooking it all the way through it until it reaches the 165 degrees Fahrenheit, just to be on the safe side of the bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that concludes our presentation on meal prepping. We hope this was very useful in terms of if you are wanting to meal prep or you're just beginning. We hope that you can use some of the tips and tricks that we talked about today. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.